Hey guys, today we're going to talk all about our Pretty Booster. This is your primer, moisturizer, color corrector, anti-aging product all in one. So an amazing primer for your pro powder, but you can also wear it by itself. It's going to give you more lighter to medium coverage. Depending on what applicator you use, you can get even more fuller coverage with it. So this product itself is so great for moisturizing your skin, but without making it feel super heavy. You can use it on its own to prime. You can layer over top if you do use another moisturizer or serum before for extra hydration. Or I really like to do the bulk of my skincare and moisturizing at night, and then just something super simple in the morning. Then with Pretty Booster, that is plenty of moisture for me and a great primer and base for that pearl powder. Some of the all-star ingredients in our Pretty Booster include that organic aloe juice. It's going to be super calming and soothing to your skin. That is the base of the Pretty Booster. And then organic jojoba oil really helps to neutralize your oil production. So this is a great product if you have oily skin, but it's also great if you don't have oily skin. So if you do have oily skin, it's going to help to neutralize your oil production and really even that out. Sometimes you might feel right away when you start using it, you get a little bit more oily, and that is great. That is actually good news. That means your skin is recognizing that jojoba oil, and it's going to start to balance the production of oil out so that you won't be as oily. Jojoba oil is a great anti-ager as well. It's going to add that great moisture, but again, not be too overly hydrating, which makes this such a great primer for your makeup too. With a primer, you do not want it to be too heavy. You don't want it to move around after you apply it. So then when you put your pearl powder foundation on, it's not going to feel too greasy, too oily, and smudge and move around on you. This also has great SPF. It has many great oils like carrot seed oil and meadow foam oil that are great SPF ingredients, but it also has mineral sunscreen. So it's gonna have that titanium dioxide and zinc oxide. All right, so let's get right into how I love to apply Pretty Booster. There are two ways I would recommend applying our Pretty Booster. Either with our Pretty Blender, this is gonna give you more of a lighter to medium coverage, and with our number 70 airbrush, this is gonna apply your Pretty Booster more full coverage for you. I don't recommend applying with your fingers because it can leave it a little bit more streaky, not as even, and it just doesn't seem to blend in as well with your fingers. I know that a lot of people do, but I just recommend these two methods for the best wear. So let's start in with applying with our Pretty Blender here. If you want to help minimize pores using the Pretty Booster itself is going to help to minimize pores and be a great primer for any other products you're going to apply, but it also is great to use on its own too. If you want a little extra help with minimizing pores, I would take our setting silk, get a little bit in the cap, and you can take our Pretty Blender. I like using that bottom end. And you'll get that setting silk right on there. And then you're gonna just dab your setting silk right onto any areas you want to work to minimize pores. We'll get a little bit more. Any fine lines you might want to minimize. And this method really primarily is if you are not going to use any other foundations. So if you are using just Pretty Booster by itself and you want to prime and minimize pores, then that's when I would do some setting silk before the Pretty Booster. If you are planning to do Pretty Booster and then the Pearl Powder Foundation, I would first prime and then I would go with the setting silk after you primed your face. Moving on, I'm gonna show you this half with just the Pretty Blender. You need a very small amount of Pretty Booster and you can always add more. I use about half a pump here and that's gonna be great for this side of my face. Again, if you really want to minimize pores, make sure you are pressing that Pretty Blender into your skin and not rubbing it. Applying it with the Pretty Blender is the absolute best way to minimize pores. And I'm just tapping it right in. I'm doing just teeny tiny little pumps here, not full pumps by any means. I would say 1 full pump to 2 pumps is the absolute max you would need. If you watched my beauty school last week about our Pearl Powder Foundation, you know that you need to prep your Pretty Blender. So to prep your Pretty Blender, make sure you run it completely underwater, saturate it with water, squeezing it while you are running it underwater. A nice tip that I do is I don't wash my Pretty Blender after I use it, but when I'm prepping it for the next time, that's when I squirt some of my Pretty Everything soap on there and really work it in to clean it and prep it all at one time. So then after you prep it, you want to squeeze out all the water, and then in a washcloth you want to squeeze it out again. Don't ever wring it or twist it. Be careful with your nails not to puncture it too. My Pretty Blender lasts me probably a year, if not longer. So just be very gentle with it and it will last you a very, very long time. Alrighty. So that is going to be more of that lighter to medium coverage applied with our blender. Next, if you want more fuller coverage, grab our number 70 airbrush. You're gonna put just, I like to do about like 5 pumps, little pumps, you see, they're not full pumps, right on my brush. Spreading it out there is gonna help it go on a little bit more even. And then you're gonna just apply straight on and buff it in. Using the number 70 airbrush is gonna give you more fuller coverage. We get a tiny bit more. And I actually find once my brush gets a little dirty, it's weird, but I like how it applies a little bit more than a cleaner brush. So, good excuse not to wash your brushes as much. So if you want more coverage than this, I'll show you again with just one more layer using the number 70 and one more layer using the Pretty Blender. You can tap it onto any areas you want more and then buff it out. So you can see the added coverage there, and we'll show you again if you do just another little layer with the Pretty Blender. So there's what it looks like with 2 little applications of the Pretty Booster. If this is enough coverage for you, you could stop right here. Otherwise, you could set it with setting silk. That's gonna help to set it, extend the wear, and also help to minimize even more fine lines and pores. Otherwise, if you'd like more coverage, then go in with your Pearl Powder foundation routine. Your Pretty Booster is gonna be a great base and help to already even out your skin tone and prime your face for that pearl powder. I hope this video was super helpful for you and you learned some great tips and tricks for how to apply Pretty Booster. And if you haven't tried Pretty Booster yet, I hope it's helpful in deciding whether or not you think this product would be great for you. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great rest of your day.